Okay, this time we'll ask the clerk to establish the quorum.
Commissioner Blakemore.
Present.
Commissioner Askew.
Here.
Chairman Whitfield.
Here.
Commissioner Hart.
Here.
Commissioner Stoltz.
Present.
All right, all members are present tonight. Thank you for that. We do have the approval of the agenda. This agenda has been placed on our website and social media. Is there any modifications tonight from the board of the agenda? Okay, hearing none, do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda.
We have a motion by Commissioner Hart. Do we have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Askew. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the agenda is approved as presented in the packet. The next item is the approval of our minutes from our regular scheduled meeting that was held here at this location back on October 13th, 2022 at 7 o'clock. So the minutes are also attached in the packet. Do we have any discussion or corrections or issues with these minutes that have been provided? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve these minutes as presented?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Commissioner Blakemore. Do we have a second?
Second.
A second by Commissioner Stoltz. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the minutes are approved as presented. Okay, at this time, we do have a public hearing tonight on Ordinance 03-22 to amend Chapter 28, Article 3 of the Code of the Walker County Ordinance concerning sewer usage regulations in the unincorporated area. So I've invited Mr. Brandon Whitley here tonight. He's our manager at the Walker County Water and Sewer Authority, and asked him just to give us an overview of this ordinance.
Yes, sir. This ordinance is a requirement of the state of Georgia through Environmental Protection Division for the county to grant water authorities the authority to regulate the use of the sewers in the system. And in doing so, provides the authority, the control to regulate the quality, the quantity, and everything of that sewer system to protect the public and the welfare of its citizens. This ordinance has been in effect for, I've been there up 27 years, had it ever since. This is just an update of the ordinance with new limits set by the Clean Water Act and other state and federal regulations. It's a requirement for the water authority with the city of Chattanooga, an agreement that we have with them, that this ordinance is reviewed every 3 years. Changes or no changes. I think the ordinance that you have now, there have just been some limit changes on the quality of the water that can enter any sewer system in Walker County. But with that, there are no other changes to the ordinance itself.
Okay. Board have any questions for Brandon Whitley?
No, sir.
I just want to, Brandon, just so the changes, like you said, in the limits or parameters of what's allowable, I guess, for, is it like fecal content or?
It is. It gets more into some metals contents
Okay.
and benzenes, toluene, things like that, to really help regulate, even with the underground storage tank specifically. We've had a few that have leaked into the groundwater system that have had to be cleaned up. Of course, your wastewater plants aren't designed to treat that either. So there's other treatment methods that have to go along with that, and included in the sewer use ordinance, it will, I hate to use the word regulate, but even grease traps for restaurants, the septic tanks, which are enforced through environmental health, grit traps.
How does it affect, I understand the sanitary sewer system, how will it affect like our like you said, environmental health is historically always handled the septic systems?
Yes.
So how's this going to impact that?
It will not impact that. The environmental health still regulates that. It just states that the homeowner, if sewer is not available, you have to have a septic tank.
I got you. Okay.
Yes.
Just want to make sure. So it's not. It's keeping us in compliance, and it's not restricting really any. It's not other than what's mandated, the restrictions or the parameters that change.
That's correct,
Okay.
yes.
No further questions.
Brandon, I have a question.
Yes,
Does the water authority, do you monitor your own levels of, heavy metals, things like that? Or do you have an outside agency that audits those? How does that process work?
We have an internal lab.
Okay.
We can do a lot of the tests in-house. But
Okay.
when you get into the metals and things like that, those are very specific, very costly. And we aren't required to do that as often, so it's more economical, more feasible for us to have it done by a third party.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
This is a public hearing on these topics. Is there anyone in the public that has any questions, comments, concerns about this? This won't be anything that we're voting on today. This is the first of 2 public hearings on this, but since this is a document that Brandon's very familiar with, he's been at the Water Authority, was in charge of the sewer for over 20-plus years at the sewer treatment plant. He's the most knowledgeable on our team, so I wanted him to come and be able to give an overview and answer any questions or give any additional comments. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming, Brandon.
Good job.
Okay, the next item we have on our additional public hearings, we have Jacob Everest requests a conditional use variance for a storage lot for property located at 5881 Highway 193, Flintstone, Georgia, 30725, tax map and parcel 0-035-27. Is there anyone here tonight that wants to speak in opposition of this? Any opposition? Okay, seeing no one, is anyone here that would like to speak on behalf of this project? You don't have to, but you are welcome to, sir. Come on up.
Just a basic storage lot for RVs, boats, and campers. There's already a existing gravel lot there, and we just need a security-controlled access gate, perimeter fence, security cameras. Going to have lights on the west side facing the east toward the railroad tracks, so nothing should be bothering the homes. Partnered with Todd of 2A Storage. The biggest concern that neighborhood had was noise and traffic. We've learned at 80 renters, you average about 12 people a day through the gate, so the traffic hasn't been an issue. And as far as the noise, people are there 10 minutes at a time, really hooking up to a boat or camper. That's about it.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Very good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else that wants to speak on this conditional use variance? Okay, we'll move on to our next one here tonight. We have Randall Dalton's request, a rezone from A1 agriculture to C1 commercial for property located at 10161 North Highway 27, Rock Springs, Georgia, 30739, tax map and parcel 0-325-026. Is there anyone here that wants to speak in opposition? Any opposition to this at all? All right, hearing none, do we have anyone that wants to speak on behalf of this request? Okay, very good. That will take care of that. So we'll end our public hearings. And at this time, we do have on our agenda, anyone that'd like to make a public comment, we do ask you to honor our time clock of 5 minutes, and anyone that'd like to speak. Okay, thank you for that. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't. Okay, come on up.
Stage fright here.
Pardon?
Stage fright.
Yeah,
Please state your name for the record.
Janice Williams. I only have 5 minutes, so I don't have time for all of the questions that I need to ask, but I want to use my 5 minutes to get an answer. I would like an answer as to why this bullying and continuation of the drama and the lies are going on against me and against my nonprofit. Specifically, when you lied on television about my character and what I was doing, the county records showed that that was not true, but you won't correct the record. Then we've gone to, I've never had a conversation with our shelter director ever. My peers in other counties tell me when I meet them, oh, you hate your shelter. What have I need you to answer for me, name one thing I have ever done against our shelter. And when the shelter staff was here and made a presentation, everybody was in the room. And the shelter director told law enforcement on the record that I wanted her job, she got it, and I didn't. And I have been after her ever since. I've never been after her. And you know that that was not true. And I addressed it at that time, and I got the same deer in the headlights. So I want to know why it's been going on now for several years. A shelter employee that just left the shelter, who doesn't hide in the shadows with the gossip and the drama anymore, and the viciousness, came after me publicly saying the same lies. The first one came from you, that I record phone conversations. But it's presented public, and that came from David Gottlieb also. He had been told the same lie and presented it to me of, you like to record phone conversations, so I'm going to record you. I've never done that. I've never said that I do that. We have a pool, instead of public service people serving, of a bunch of gossiping bullies that just don't stop. And I want to know why, and then I want to know from you when it's going to stop. So you have 2 minutes and 45 seconds.
Ms. Janice, you and I have had many conversations, and we've even had meetings with even Commissioner Askew present. And we've gone over a lot of these things. I know there's some of these issues you're bringing up in question from years past, but I don't have anything else to add to anything that I've already shared with you from the past. Things that you're getting from, you say, former employees and things, I don't have any knowledge of that. They're not anybody that's...
What the former employee said publicly was, that's why our shelter will not take a call from you or return your calls. And they don't, and neither do you. But my issue with that, I'm a citizen here and I pay taxes, which contributes to every salary in this room. You have denied me access to county properties for no reason and threatened to have me arrested, but never produced a reason. That's bullying, and that's corrupt. I want to know from you when it's going to stop, and I want to know why. And you can turn around to David Gottlieb and ask him who told him that I record phone calls, because that came from you. And it's not true. So I want it to stop, Shannon. And I want to know why, when citizens call our shelter that we pay for, they can't get a return call. Almost 2 months ago now, somebody called us, which they do when they can't get through to the shelter, because a dog bit their child when they were getting on the school bus. A dog bit a child. They couldn't get through, so they called us because they think because we deal with animals, we have a working relationship with the county. They don't know that you threaten to arrest us and harass us. And if we call you, you tell everybody we harass you if we try to call you for accountability on it. So I left a very detailed message for animal control. It was a bite call. I provided all of the information. I never heard a word back. I did what I needed to do. I reported it. 6 weeks later, I met with animal control. They never even got the call. And that's not the only one that they don't get. Are we saying that because of this viciousness and the petty gossip, even when a child is bitten, the county refuses to do anything because they don't like somebody? I have tried to have civilized meetings with you. I have offered to meet with the shelter director and was told with squinted eyes, never. And then her father ran up to me at one of these meetings and said, don't ever talk to my daughter. We're paying for this service. Why can't we all get along and work together? And if you're going to continue to make it difficult for the citizens, I want to know when the nonsense is going to stop with the gossip and the lies and the hatefulness. You're in charge of day-to-day and the employees, so I want to know from you, what are you going to do to make it stop, and when is it going to stop?
Thank you, Ms. Janice. Your time is up.
I'm waiting for your answer, sir.
Your time is up.
Mine is, I'll be quiet while you answer, but I'm waiting for your answer.
We're going to need to move on with our agenda and allow anyone else that wants to speak. Thank you for coming.
I'm waiting for your answer.
It's time for you to have a seat.
I'll have a seat and I'll listen, but I would like an answer.
I give you my explanation.
You didn't give me an
Okay,
explanation.
anyone else that would like to speak?
Commissioner Whitfield.
Yes, sir. Please come up.
You are a corrupt bully.
You're out
to
of
the
order.
citizens in your county.
You're out of order.
And so are you. But I pay you to be out of order.
Yes, sir. Come on up, please.
How y'all doing? My name is Jeremy White,
Yes, sir.
and I just have two questions pertaining to, and it may or may not affect this body, or this body may not be involved in it. but the purchase of Glass Road Farms and its intended use, I was wondering what the, if that was bought by the county or the county planning authority. And then also, there is rumor that I heard, and it is a rumor and I would like clarification on it, whether or not there's a lithium plant coming into the area next to Audio.
Okay, it was the Walker County Development Authority Board that purchased that property, which is the authority board that owns the existing industrial park there next door of the remaining property. And so that property had come available, and so that being an adjoining piece of property of roughly 100 acres, the Development Authority Board made the decision to purchase that property for additional future industrial development.
And then is there a lithium plant going in that area?
That I don't know. I know there's always, the state partners are always bringing up projects, you know, and looking at the site, but there's not any pending agreements or any commitments from any organization for that property.
Okay. I appreciate it. Thank you
Okay,
very much.
thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Anyone else that would like to speak?
Yep. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Come on up, Mr. Billy.
I'm a little old, so I'm a little slow. I just got a couple of questions for me and my staff. And Shannon, it's hard for me and you to get together.
I think
But-
last time we met, what was Monday?
Yeah, or last week. When was the pay raises and stuff go in effect? Do they go October 1 when the budget was passed, or do they go in November 1?
The hourly employees, it was October the 1st.
Salary employees, like myself and Darren.
Well, as far as you being an elected official, all the elected officials' pay adjustments will not go into effect until January the 1st. But all of those that got an 80 cent an hour raise that are
Now, Shannon,
non-elected officials.
last year, that wasn't right. Now, we can go back and look at Tab's records, but when that budget's passed and the salaries are set, I thought we went from October 1 to October 1, or September to October. Now, how can we go from October and you tell me I'm not gonna get my raise and Darren's not gonna get his pay till January?
Now Darren's situation is different, okay? Because he's not elected. And like you and I text message this week, that I text you back.
Yes, you
asked
did. I
me
looked up.
when we could get Darren on, and would he be a 1099 under Paulette, or would he be a W-2?
Okay,
under-
when should that
under
have
Teddy?
took effect?
Whenever you're ready. And that's where I put on there, they have to go to orientation, and you wanted to know if it started.
Okay, so Darren's
That's up
not
to
going,
you.
so the way Tab explained to me, Darren's not gonna get paid to the end of November. So he's gonna work, he worked October, he's worked 2 weekends in October, plus he does my stuff. And me and you had this conversation about him and his situation in Cleveland. We've got that ironed out. So Tab told me she couldn't pay him to the end of November. So he's gonna be 2 months without pay when the budget went in October.
Well, it's all determined when you've made him a salary deputy coroner.
I thought we'd done that when the budget was passed.
No, sir. That's up to you.
What, have you got any time tomorrow to meet with me? And I'll
Tomorrow
have him there.
afternoon.
Tomorrow afternoon, I got a meeting from 8 to 12.
I'll be at
Ano-
that same one.
All right, well, good, I can catch you there.
Okay.
And another thing too,
But all the elected officials' pay changes for the entire county are all January 1, because that's regulated by the state.
okay, so we go from January to January instead of October to October,
Yes, sir.
correct? Okay. I mean, I'm just trying to find out, because my guys are asking me, my guys need to get paid. And me and you've talked about this situation, I'll talk to you more about it tomorrow, but with cavalry removal, they're going to $215 come January the 1st. I've got a gentleman that will do transports for $175. I have no transport people during the day. I'm the corner from 5:30 in the morning till 7 o'clock in the afternoon. And anytime after that, if I'm needed on the double call. But all my men are tied up working full-time jobs, and I appreciate y'all giving me extra help. I'm not complaining. I'm just getting questions by them, so I'm their quote boss or whatever. So I need something to take back to them and say, guy, because I've got guys that's run 3 or 4 or 5 calls and ain't got paid yet. Now, on that saying, I ask you about $200 a month. I know I gotta stay within my budget, and I'm gonna try to do that as best I can. I cannot control deaths, and I cannot control trips to Atlanta. But the cavalry removal charges me $100 to make any removals inside Walker County, 465 miles. If they go to Atlanta, it's $195 now, they're going to $215 in January. I gave my guys, I want to give them a raise to $200. Catoosa County went to $200 on their deputies, Dade County went to $300. Well, I knew not to ask for $300. So I stayed with Catoosa County. But if I lose those deputies, they're full-time and then they're willing to work at night after they get home and stuff. If I lose them, I am me, myself, and I.
But if you remember our conversation we had just the other day, I said I was okay with that.
Yeah, but Ms. Paulette told me today, she asked you about it, or yesterday, and you told her that me and you hadn't talked and that wasn't what we agreed on. Now, I
That was
agreed,
about
I
your
agreed on.
transport guy.
The transport guy.
That's right.
But I told you, nobody's gonna go to Atlanta for $100 for 6 or 7 hours a day. So I gotta pay him something better than that. So I said 175 since they're going to 215. Because I can't always get cavalry. Now, I can transport it myself, but that leaves Walker County wide open, no corner.
And you've got 3 deputy coroners.
They all work full-time jobs during the day. Bo's at Wilson, Darren's at Lanes, and Terry has now went to work for the city of Lafayette as a counselor for crisis and suicide events. So it's me. Now, I don't mind going to Atlanta. It's not that I fear to go down there, but I don't want to leave the citizens that voted me in with no corner. So what, if tomorrow, if you got time tomorrow afternoon, me and you'll sit down and hash it out, but I gotta get my men paid. That's unacceptable for them to
The
work
only one
and
that
not
was
get
in
paid.
question, I was waiting on you to get back with me, was the one that
For
you
the
turned in.
175, that I asked for, hey, first, I was gonna pay him 200, but then after me and you
That's right,
talked,
it was
I
200.
went back and I was like, well, that's not fair to my men that's went to school and got licensed and all that. But,
And what we talked about was you going back and having a discussion about a different number.
and I did, and I've tried to reach out to you by phone, and I've left you a couple messages, but me and you, we can't G-haul. I drive around this block all day long trying to catch your truck here.
It's a lot going
And I'm
on.
not sitting here throwing out on you, I'm just saying, I just need firm answers and know what we're doing, so I can go to my men and tell them, hey, we're gonna get you paid, me and Shannon will have a meeting, we'll get it all ironed out, that's all I ask.
Okay, we can talk tomorrow.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move our next item here. Under new business, approval of purchase order and contract for 4 quick response vehicles from 10-8 Fire and Safety, funded from our 2020 SPLOSH. So we have Fire Chief Blake Hodge here tonight to give us an overview. Please, sir.
Thank you, good evening. So this request was for the purchase and execution of the contract for, as you mentioned, 4 quick response vehicles. Unfortunately, I'm here a little bit earlier than had planned on being due to continued price increases by these manufacturers. We currently have 10 QRVs within the organization. All of them are right at 20 years old. One each at all 7 career stations. They're high maintenance. We consistently have them in the shop being worked on. I checked before I got here, and there's 6 of the 10 out of service today. So it's just a continuous thing that we are, and these are the vehicles we're in 85-90% of the time. So we're in need of new vehicles. We ordered 3 at the end of last year, and the plan was to order 3 more, about a year and a half from now. However, there's already been 2 increases by Ford and then 2 increases by the manufacturers due to supplies. And so the reason we're asking for 4 is because that would get us to at least one of these at each of our career stations. And then it's going to be in end of 24, 25 before they're expected to arrive. So there's no cost now. The payment would be due upon delivery, which is going to be roughly 20 to 30 months. So the collection's going to be nearly 2 years as far as SPLOST, because that's the funding project for it, or vehicle for it. We knew this was coming. We've been dealing with it. You've had me in here when we were buying the F-150s, and we kept hearing this from dealers. And We just recently went down to Bradenton, Florida to do the pre-construction on the first three, and Pierce was making us well aware of, they're still waiting on those three to come in, the chassis to come in. So we've been working, the team at the fire department's been working on trying to find chassis. So we found a company in New York that had 5 chassis that matched our description, and they wanted $390,000 to do it. Now, that's a little bit supply and demand. They had the chassis, so they were, in my opinion, it was a big markup to do that. But so then Pierce finally got back with us just to tag on to our existing order, and they come in at the $342,804. So significant increase from when we had it before, but there is up to a 10% increase November 1st, next week. So the request is to approve and execute a contract for 4 of them. Again, the money would not be due till delivery. And again, Ford is not telling them. Pierce is a major manufacturer of fire apparatus that requests a large number of these units, and they're looking to get 30 to 40% of their request. So we're just trying to get in the door to try to get these as soon as we can, which is looking like it's going to be into 24 or 2025.
So you're saying if we don't act now, Monday, it'll be up 10%?
Up to 10%. They're expecting anywhere from 7 to 10% by Monday. Which again, if it's 10%, I mean it's $34,000
It's
a
already
piece.
funded by SPOSS, right? The money's there.
Yeah.
So just to go ahead and make that allocation or appropriation is what we'll basically be doing.
Yes, sir.
Payable on delivery, which we don't even know when that would be, but
Yes,
just
sir.
to go ahead and get in the pipeline.
So there's 2 more years. There's an estimated 2 more years of collection going to go on in SPOSS as well. So you're not spending anything now. So if you have other projects, it's not like you're using this money.
Yeah, the allocation of funds is not an issue. And in our master splosh plan, we had budgeted for 6 of these QRVs. Now, obviously, they're a little more than we first thought they would be, but what the chief is asking for now, as we have gone in time and they're looking at how much they're continuing to use these, is instead of 6, to purchase 7. And where we're gonna make up that difference in funding is we're gonna forego one of our pumpers, correct?
We call them hose trucks. The trucks that carry over 2,000 gallons of water, the bigger you see the currently are, they're just 2-seaters. So yes, we would rather have this because we're in it 85-90% of the time, and then forego the purchase of one of those that we had in line to be at the end of our SPOSS expenditure. So
We still have 2 of those on order as well, right?
we have 3 pumpers.
Three.
We have 3 pumpers, custom pumpers that are on their way. The other 2 were going to be at the end, and they are more of like what you'd know as a tanker. That carry more water, the bigger truck.
So that's the internal adjustment we're making to keep the dollars in balance, is we'll forego 1 pumper, but we still got 4, 3's on order, and this will take us from 6 QRVs to 7. And this is what Blake and his team are requesting, feel it would be the best to service the community, and then we can beat this next price increase and get these on order.
Yeah, and they're expecting 2 to 3 more. I mean, that's what we're being told. Sometimes you hear this and you wonder, well, they're just trying to sell something, but it's been real. I mean, it's been a real increase. And Commissioner Hart, you had mentioned in previous meeting, you're asking me about what we're going to do with existing when we replace them, and that number of surplus would increase just to, again, echo what we've said before, that when these come in, we would surplus others.
Good. Because I'm sure there's a market even for
Yes, sir.
more ambulance. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, they're hard, you can't find, they're having the same problem with ambulances, just all over. I mean, it's just hard to find.
Chief, what are the QRVs actually equipped with? What would be standard equipment on those?
So currently, we have taken the F-350 brush trucks, as you would originally know them, with the separate pump on the back, small pumps that pump 200 gallons a minute. They're not a lot of compartment space. So the apparatus committee designed the new pumpers. They're basically a mini pumper. They have the internal, real pump. They're going to pump upwards of, they're going to be 1,250 gallons a minute. So we're going to actually integrated foam system, compartments to handle extrication equipment, They'll have supply hose, attack hose. So it is taking the bigger fire truck and shrinking it down to an all-purpose that we utilize on an all-hazard response. So, I mean, they'll be able to, we pull up and fight fire off the ones today. If they're out in the community doing pre-plans or something, or they're coming back from a medical call and they get a fire, they still operate off these trucks we have today, but these will be a lot safer, have more water, integrated foam, so the capabilities are a lot better on these.
The brush trucks that y'all, what we call brush trucks, they've got like just a gasoline engine on the back.
Right, Honda.
So this will be like a PTO driven or hydraulically driven pump system.
Single stage pump and
Oh, yeah,
internal.
good.
Yeah, and the trucks we've got now, like I said, we repurposed those because they were just sitting in the fire bays. They wasn't going anything. And in 2017, we were looking, many of them only had 10, 12,000 miles on them. They were 2002, 2003 models. But setting is not a good thing.
And to be honest, the major issues we're having is because they set.
Yeah. And so they're F-350s, and so going to the F-550 and getting the additional equipment and all will be a much better setup and design to do what we're using these for. Yeah. Any additional questions?
No, sir.
Motion to approve.
Okay, so we have a motion by Commissioner Blakemore to approve this purchase for $1,371,216 to purchase 4 quick response vehicles in the amount of $342,804 each. So do we have a second?
Second.
Have a second by Commissioner Stoltz. Any further discussion of the board? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the purchase is approved.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Okay, our action items, Jacob Everest requests a conditional use variance for a storage lot for property located at 5881 Highway 193, Flintstone, Georgia, tax map and parcel 0-035-27. The Planning Commission's recommendation is to approve this request. What is the pleasure of this board?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Askew. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Commissioner Hart. Any further discussion of the board? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, this is approved as presented. The next item we have is for Randall Dalton's request to rezone from A1 agriculture to C1 commercial for property located at 10161 North Highway 27, Rock Springs, Georgia, tax map and parcel 0325-026. This one also, the Planning Commission recommended to approve. What is the pleasure of this board?
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Stoltz. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Commissioner Askew. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
This is approved as presented. Okay, this time on our agenda is our commissioner comments, so we'll start with Commissioner Blakemore, District 1.
So there's a trunk or treat at Rossville Athletic Association Sunday at 6 p.m. and that is at 301 Williams Street in Rossville. There will be one Monday. The library in Rossville is heading one up on McFarland from 5 to 7 on Monday. And recreation basketball signups are going on now in Rossville, if anyone is interested. And I would just like to send a heartfelt condolence to the Walker family. That was a great loss to our county and to the community. Thank you.
Commissioner Askew.
Well, thank everybody for attending. We'll put out a special thanks to our employees. Without you guys, we couldn't keep things rolling. Thank you, public, for your participation, coming and getting involved, because that helps us tremendously in doing our job. And we'll echo the condolences to the Walker family. We'll miss Mr. Leon. He was a big supporter of the county, stay politically involved, stayed involved in a lot of, and just try to be a help and a servant. We're gonna greatly miss him, be hard to replace. Thank you for your time.
Yes, I agree. Leon was a good guy. Just being perfect Carolyn. She's a great person for the county. The scare on the square in Lafayette is Monday night. City of Lafayette puts that on every year. It's 5:30 to 7 up on the square here. If you got kids, get them out there. I want to talk a minute about the courthouse renovation. So we talked about that in a meeting about a month ago. We've met with some folks that are helping us steer in the right direction on renovating our courthouse. The first phase of that operation is going to be to get the exterior fixed. There's some places where water's getting in the building. There's some wear points on the bricks, as well as the 2 flat roofs on the north and south side. So we've got some pricing back on that. All the district commissioners in Shannon have seen it. We've had some discussions about it, but hopefully around the first week of December, we might can get started on that. We're looking forward to paying some attention to that old building. We need to do that, so hopefully there'll be more of that in the future to look at and talk about. Robert?
Thank you, sir. Appreciate everyone coming out tonight, and I want to thank all of our county employees. Appreciate the hard work that y'all do, your dedication. Thank you very much. Flu season is upon us in the state of Georgia, and as of today, Georgia is in the top 3 as far as the spread of flu. So I would encourage you to get a flu shot. Go see your primary care doctor. Walker County Health Department is giving flu vaccines. You just need to call and make an appointment. Also, I want to comment, thoughts and prayers go out to the Leon Walker family, Miss Carolyn, just wonderful folks. My relationship with Leon goes back to the 80s when I got a cattle dog from him, and we were good friends and great friends, and we talked fishing a lot. I spoke with him about 3 weeks ago. He wanted to know what I was catching, and just a super, super guy, a true gentleman, and he will truly be missed. Mr. Chair, I would like to yield a few of my minutes to Mr. Brown to update us on some safety matters. Thank you, sir.
Mr. David Brown?
Just a little update. We talked last, 2 weeks ago that we were putting up the first aid kits. I talked to Stacy tonight. All 5 of them been put up. Probate judge has got one, the 2nd floor in the back room of Carter Brown's, where they've got like the little kitchenette. Annex 2 has one. Magistrate has one, and environmental has one for this entire building. Today, we delivered to the road department and the shop polarized sunglasses and yak tracks. And we also gave the ground maintenance some of the polarized sunglasses while they're out. They get out pretty early some days, and this fall winter sun is really hard. It really is. Next week, we're planning to visit Mountain Cove Farm with the rugs, the tool racks for the shop, the extension cord holders, and I'm going to finish up the leak test on the cabins that environmental health requires us to do every year. I have a machine that I bought, and I'm trained on it, that'll cut back on our cost from Blossman at $105 an hour. I can do it and have it done, and they will accept that environmental health. So we are moving forward. We've got talked to our supplier on the raincoats. I think we like 5 more coming in. We'll have them hopefully this coming week, and then we'll get them embroidered and get them out to everybody that's getting a raincoat.
Very good. Thank you. Good report, David.
Appreciate that.
A couple of things I've got up. First of all, just to give a little bit of history with our landfill operation. When I came in office in 2017, our landfill operation, which has unannounced inspections from Georgia EPD, and a lot of those scores were in the 70 and 75 range of where they come in and do their check off of the requirements of the landfill operation. So in early, I guess probably first quarter of 2017, Payne Gilley joined the team as the director of our landfill operations. and has continued to work to improve and make a lot of progress at the landfill, and very quickly got us up in the 85s and 90s on the scores. And for some times, he's been in that 90 to 95 range, and so that's a very big accomplishment, because there's a lot of boxes and things that they check, so to speak, on the form, and you don't know when EPD's coming. These are unannounced inspections, and they go through things with a fine-tooth comb. And so just recently, Payne Gilly and our team at the landfill scored a 100. And Payne, we want to thank you and your team and commend y'all for great work. And I don't know if we have ever seen, or if there's even been 100 in the past or not. We may have to research that. But that's a great accomplishment for you and your team, and I know that's a big effort, and that's a big lift, and those hundreds are not easy to get. So thank you for all your hard work and making that happen and not giving up to get that 100 score. I know it's been a journey, so thank you for that. Also, too, I'd like to pass my condolences to Carolyn Walker and her family, her loss of her husband this week. I know they've got visitation at Wilson Funeral Home in Lafayette on Sunday, and that starts at 2 o'clock to 8 p.m., and then services are on Monday, and I don't remember the time, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's 2 o'clock, yes, thank you. 2 o'clock on Monday at Wilson's Funeral Home, visitation Sunday from 2 to 8 p.m. So remember the Walker family in your prayers, and again, it's a great loss in our community. Okay, at this time, our executive session, I know we need to go into executive session for some personnel items. Is there any other topics? Okay, hearing none, I make the motion that we go into executive session to discuss personnel. Do we have a second for that?
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Askew. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. We will stand adjourned until our executive session is over, and we will return.
Hi, I'm Joe Legee, Public Relations Director for Walker County Government. The board has just entered executive session. This is a process that allows elected officials to discuss a specific, sensitive topic behind closed doors. These are topics that are exempt from the Georgia Open Meetings Act. Executive session topics must fall into one of three categories: litigation, real estate, or personnel matters. In terms of litigation, the need may arise for the board to consult with the county attorney on pending or potential lawsuits, settlements, claims, administrative proceedings, or other judicial actions brought by or against Walker County government, its officers, or employees. Real estate covers discussions regarding the future purchase or acquisition, disposal, or lease of property. Personnel matters would cover the discussion or deliberation on the appointment, employment, compensation, hiring, disciplinary action, or dismissal of a Walker County government officer or employee. Now, if a vote is needed pertaining to an issue discussed in the executive session, it must be taken in an open meeting. Otherwise, it is not binding. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back in a bit.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and come back to order. It's still October 27th, 2022. It is 9:10 p.m. There's no further action to come out of executive session, so do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion by Commissioner Blakemore. Do we have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Askew. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we stand adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen.